Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 LUCES Scholarship Banquet. My name is Rebecca Lopez, and I have the great honor of being your host this evening for our virtual event. I have to tell you, there is a lot of wonderful information in store for you here tonight, and we're glad that you're joining us to learn more about our scholarship recipients. And in a time when we've worked through a very challenging year, a year that continues to have its own obstacles and throws us for loops, tonight is a night of hope, a night of promise, a reminder of what the future has in store for us. And I can assure you that after you meet our scholarship recipients tonight, you will feel like I do, as though our future is bright and there's going to be so many wonderful things to come. So without further ado, I'm excited this evening to get us kicked off by welcoming Mr. Steve Goldberg with Steve Goldberg Consulting LLC. Let me tell you a little bit about Steve before he gets started. But first, before we talk about Steve, we're going to talk about our sponsors. We have been very fortunate that we can offer the scholarships we're offering this evening because of the generosity of our community partners. Our presenting sponsors this evening are Bank of Sun Prairie, Kuna Mutual Group, Nick and Judith Topitzes Foundation, Inc., Sherman-Williams, and One City Schools. Our benefactor sponsors are Hawks Quindell and Alliant Energy, and our amigo sponsor is Quartz. Thank you all so much to our community members for their support and their help and our vision for the future. Our mission at LUCES is to promote and advocate for the higher educational advancement of Latinos through mentoring programs and merit and needs-based scholarships. The vision of LUCES is to ensure that every Latino high school graduate enrolls in college, stays in college, and graduates from college. That's right. This would be possible. We're grateful for their volunteerism and their time and their efforts. Some of them will be joining us this evening for the program, and I can't wait to hear from them. They have wonderful messages to share with all of you. Cobb, who's our board president, who's going to be joining us, Saira Hayo, Stephanie Willem, Marisol Gonzalez, Melinda Mayer, Rocio Elvira Morejon, Audra Wendt, and Pedro Albiter. Thank you so much to our board of directors. Wonderful. So now that I have your attention again, we're going to go ahead and introduce Steve Goldberg. He retired in 2016 from the Kuna Mutual Group after 48 years of service to the company in various positions, most recently as executive director of Kuna Mutual Foundation, where he led the company's local philanthropy and community relations. After retiring from Kuna Mutual, Steve served as gift development specialist for Madison College, leading the successful capital campaign for their new South Campus. He continues his community involvement by consulting with nonprofits on their business plans and their fund development strategies. He MCs community foundations and attends numerous nonprofit events. Busy for Steve than working. He currently leads 2 statewide initiatives for the WEA Members Benefits Foundation, expanding the role of based mental health services and student access to the internet. He's the immediate past chairman of the Wisconsin Philanthropy Network and serves on the advisory board of the UW Center for Community and Nonprofit Studies. Without further delay, hi Steve, I see you there on the joining us tonight.
That's me. Thank you very much, Rebecca, and thanks for that very well-written introduction. Good evening, everybody. I am Steve Goldberg. I'm a proud partner and supporter of LUCES. I want to welcome you and add my welcome comments to what you already heard from Rebecca. And thank you for attending the 2021 Annual Scholarship Gala of LUCES, the Latinos United for College Education Scholarships. And I think you can be pretty excited about this event and about your support for this organization. LUCES provides college scholarships for Latino students, changing and strengthening their future forever, as well as the future of their families and their community. And when LUCES started awarding these scholarships back in 2008, so about 13 years ago, they were only able to award, as I understand it, one scholarship per year. So only one Latino student each year was benefiting from the scholarship program at that time. But community support for this organization and for the cause of helping Latino students get access to college, all of that has grown so much over the years that now LUCES is able to award 10 scholarships every year. So 10 Latino students are benefiting from this program every year because of support from people like yourselves, the corporate sponsors you saw a moment ago on the screen, and family foundations that are supporting this program. And as a result, we're changing lives forever and doing it at a greater scale than in the past. You're going to meet the 10 current scholarship recipients. Applaud them warmly. They can hear you online, so be sure to let them know how proud you are of them. And speaking of being proud, as you sit back this evening and experience the event, the celebration, the gala, you should also experience a little bit of pride yourselves, pride in how you are making a difference in the future of these scholarship recipients, their families, and their community. And so remember, the positive results from this program and from this event and from the scholarships, those results are largely because of you. So be proud of that, enjoy the evening, and I'll turn it back to Rebecca. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Steve, and thank you for everything you do for our community. Steve said it right when he shared that you're all wonderful supporters and a big part of the success, not only of LUCES, but of the lives of each and every one of our scholarship recipients. We're so lucky to have you, your support, and your enthusiasm. To talk a little bit more about LUCES and the wonderful mentorship that goes on behind the scenes, we want to share a promotional video with all of you so you get to see what happens throughout the year.
Hola, my name is Tara Cobb, and I have been a board member of LUCES since February of 2020. LUCES stands for Latinos United College Education Scholarships. Founded more than 16 years ago, LUCES has been dedicated and committed to assisting and impacting over 100 Latinx students achieve their dream of a college education. We focus on our students in Dane County as well as South Central Wisconsin. I want to first thank each and every one of our donors and sponsors that helped this year's gala become a reality, as well as our 5 scholarships that we were able to award. You truly have been the difference to these recipients. I also want to warmly invite you to our 2021 virtual gala, live August 6th at 6 p.m. Together for Our Future is our theme, and we'd like you to visit our website at www.luces-wisconsin.org to RSVP and reserve your free ticket. You'll be able to meet our 5 scholarship recipients for 2021 and see how you can be the difference for these students. Our theme again is Together for Our Future, and this could not be more relevant In a world that continually tries to divide us, we want to come together to brighten the future for more students. Please consider joining our great group of sponsors and donors with your very own contribution to LUCES. Any amount makes an impact. Please again visit our website on ways that you can donate. Our goal in 2022 is to double our scholarships to 10. We are very fortunate to have been able to give 5 scholarships during COVID and another 5 this year. But 2022, our goal is 10. So please visit us at our website at www.luces-wisconsin.org to find out how you can be part of this great opportunity to impact the future. We're also committed to mentoring these students, our current sponsees, our interested sponsees, as well as our past. So it's just such a great organization. I invite you to learn more about us through our website and through attending our live gala August 6th. So gracias for your time and your sincere consideration to contributing to LUCES. Join us again for our gala and just see the impact that you could have on these amazing students.
Hi, my name is Marisol Gonzalez, and I'm an attorney here at Hucks Quindell in Madison, Wisconsin. I am also a proud member of the LUCES board. LUCES, as you may already know, is a nonprofit organization that works to ensure the bright future of Latinx students. We do so by providing scholarships, but also by providing a mentorship program and other programs to help students thrive in their education. Of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors, so I would like to take a moment to name the sponsors for this year. Our sponsors are Nick Pizzas, Jimmy Kaufman, Alliant, Quartz, and Hucks Quindell. If you would like to join us and our sponsors in ensuring a bright future for our Latinx students, please go to our website, which is luces-wisconsin.org, in order to help. There, you can find different ways of helping, which are volunteering, whether that means on our board or for an event, but also by making a monetary contribution. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your commitment to our Latinx students.
Hi everybody, my name is Gabriela Zamold and I am a former LUCES Scholarship recipient. I received my scholarship back in 2019. So a little bit about me. I am from La Paz, Bolivia. I immigrated to the United States when I was 19 years old with a broken English, a little money, and a lot of hopes and dreams to attend college. So fast forwarding a little bit to 2018, that's when I decided to start the Human Services program at Madison College. However, just a little after, I realized how difficult it was for me to pay for my tuition. So that's when I started looking for support outside of Madison College, within the community. And I came across LUCES. LUCES not only helped me pay for my tuition back in 2019, but it also provided me with social connections and lifelong supporters that I know will back up my educational journey. However, this was just the beginning. LUCES helped me as well to stay motivated not only to complete my semester, but also to complete my entire program. So I'm happy to announce this past May, I graduated with honors from the Human Services program. And I also got a certificate in addiction studies. But I'm not stopping there. I plan to attend Edgewood College as well to get my bachelor's degree in psychology with a human services concentration. At the same time, I'm also working with Madison College with the ESL program, supporting students, helping students that are learning English just like I was. So I am in the community and I'm here to help any of you. So lastly, I want to take this big opportunity to reach out to all of my Latino Hispanic community that are in need of a hand or support, don't hesitate to apply for LUCES. This is scholarship I guarantee you will change your life. And as well, I want to reach out to everyone in general that are out there willing to help. Come help LUCES volunteering, mentoring, or if you can donate, we are happy to hear from you. And the most important part, I want to send a big thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters. This scholarship would not be possible without you. Your help literally helps people like me to achieve their goals and dreams. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
My name is Isabella Alpeter, and I'm a volunteer for LUCES. I would like to take this opportunity tonight to thank all of our sponsors and supporters for all of your love and support throughout all these years. If you would like to donate or volunteer for LUCES, please check our website, which is www.luces-wisconsin.org. Thank you.
What a wonderful video. I can't tell you how excited I am to get to the rest of the program so you can meet these wonderful scholarship recipients. And big news flash, what we're really excited about here tonight is that due to the generosity of our sponsors and everyone who's given, we were able to give a 6th scholarship this evening. And so we're very excited to share that with you as well. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, and I can tell you there's a lot that we're going to learn. Sergio Gonzalez is an assistant professor of Latinx studies in the departments of History and Languages, Literature and Cultures at Marquette University. As a historian of 20th century U.S. immigration, labor, and religion, his scholarship focuses on the development of Latino communities in the U.S. Midwest. His first book, Mexicans in Wisconsin, offered a concise introductory history of Mexican settlement and community formation across the state. His current project, Strangers No Longer, Latino Belonging and Faith in the 20th Century Wisconsin, explores the relationship between religious social justice movements in 20th century Wisconsin. Gonzalez has bridged his academic scholarship to broader audiences by serving as a founder and leader for the Dane Sanctuary Coalition, as on the board of Voces de la Frontera Action, the advocacy arm of Wisconsin's largest and most active membership-based immigrant justice organization. So, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Sergio and his keynote address this evening. Buenas noches, Sergio.
Buenas noches. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you, Rebecca. Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you all here tonight on this really special occasion. How do I know it's special? Because it's the first time I've put on a suit jacket in a little bit, which I'm sure is the case for some of you who are dressing up so nice for this wonderful gala tonight. It's so great to share this space with you. We may not be able to see each other in person, but I'm so glad to be sharing this virtual space with so many students, families, educators, community members, and sponsors. What a wonderful way to celebrate the educational achievements and educational dreams of our next generation of leaders. And I just want to say, before I jump into my comments here, that I really empathize and understand where our scholars are coming from tonight, because I myself, as a first generation college student, would not have been able to pursue my academic career at the University of Wisconsin-Madison without the support of sponsors in the Milwaukee area who helped fund my own educational path into higher education. I'd like to begin by thanking the LUCES Board of Directors, and especially Pedro and Zaida, for their invitation to join you all for this celebration. And I'd like to congratulate tonight's honorees, the young scholars who have already accomplished so much by not only graduating from high school and matriculating into universities, but doing so in the midst of a global pandemic. All of us in attendance tonight are in awe of your persistence and perseverance. And I must say that we are so fortunate that you've chosen to continue your higher education careers here in Wisconsin. Our communities are lucky and will be so much stronger because you're pursuing those next steps right here in our backyards, helping Wisconsin Latino communities develop the homegrown talent that we so sorely need. Now, I've long been an admirer of LUCES going back to my days as an undergraduate and graduate student and middle school teacher in Madison. This year's gala theme, Together for Our Future, is an apt one. It speaks not only to how we'll be able to confront the many obstacles we have ahead of us as we continue to stare down this global pandemic, but also because it truly does speak to the ethic and work that LUCES has engaged in over its history. For those of you from Madison and the surrounding area, you can appreciate that the city is well known for its wealth of nonprofit organizations. I believe that LUCES truly stands out for its singular focus on working to ensure bright futures for Latino youth across our state. Their emphasis on mentoring and providing merit and need-based scholarship fills a very particular and urgent area of need in our community. Their mission is not just one centered around equity and education, but also around the very question of opportunity. Madison, like my hometown of Milwaukee, has been bedeviled for years by a persistent and what feels like implacable academic gap for minority students, especially Latinos and African Americans. Now, this is often referred to as an achievement gap, but in reality, that's not exactly what we're dealing with here. Wisconsin Latino and African American students have never suffered from an achievement gap. They and their families have instead been dealing with an opportunity gap. Despite the best efforts of school systems, parent groups, and student advocates, our Latino and African American students have continued to have access to fewer resources than their white peers, which means invariably that they've also suffered from a lack of opportunities to pursue higher education beyond high school. You and I all know that if and when they are given an equal opportunity and equal access to resources, these students will excel and achieve just as well as their peers. And that's why organizations like LUCES are so important. LUCES was founded in 2005 by a small assemblage of community members. Their initial group was called Club Mexiquense, and they hoped to alleviate various issues affecting Latinos settling in and living around South Central Wisconsin. They soon found, however, that at the root of many of Latino Wisconsinites' problems was educational opportunity. They thus endeavored to create a group to empower and support Latino students and their families in order for students to be able to pursue their dreams of higher education. Now, when those Madisonians, including some of you here tonight, decided to form LUCES, they were in fact following in a century-long lineage of Latino Wisconsinites who have banded together to address large and what seemed like unbeatable economic, social, educational, and cultural barriers. That early group of LUCES members, and those of you who have assembled for the celebration tonight, are living out the idea of Together for Our Future in the same way that Mexican immigrants, Puerto Rican migrants, Cuban and Central American refugees, and so many others from the Hispanic world have done over the last 100 years as they've sought to make a home for themselves here in Wisconsin. When I think about LUCES and this year's theme of Together for Our Future, the first thing that comes to mind is the concept of mutual aid. Mutual aid societies, also known as mutualistas in Spanish, popped up all over the Southwest in the late 19th and early 20th century to provide cultural, economic, and legal support to immigrants. When local and governmental institutions refused to provide the most basic of social services for new immigrants, often because these institutions viewed Mexican and Latino descent people as racially and culturally inferior, mutualistas stepped in to fill the void. These groups opened schools to counter poor education offered in Latino neighborhoods, provided medical and life insurance, and fought for civil rights. They were, in essence, finding ways to build a future together. Now, mutual aid societies can be found throughout the history of European, Asian, and Latin American societies. And they have a particularly robust history among the generations of immigrant communities that have settled in the United States since the 18th century. What makes them special among Latino communities in the US, however, is that what began within Mexican and Puerto Rican communities over 100 years ago has continued on to this day. In Wisconsin, the history of mutual aid within Latino communities stretches back to the 1920s, with the arrival of the first Mexican immigrants in Milwaukee. Milwaukee tanneries, factories, and foundries began recruiting Mexican workers to their companies in order to staff the city's booming industrial economy. Mexican laborers helped make Milwaukee the machine shop of the world, as it was known, often working in the lowest paying and most dangerous jobs available. Despite their contributions to the city's thriving economic scene, however, Mexican families were often treated as second-class citizens, portrayed as racially inferior and culturally subordinate. Those early Mexican settlers, known as Los Primeros, and numbering over 4,000 residents by 1930, struggled to find a place for themselves in the city's schools, work sites, politics, and social scene. Because they were stigmatized as lesser than, and thus had fewer opportunities in their new homes, Milwaukee Mexicans had to find, in fact, they had to create alternatives. They turned to mutual aid societies. These organizations existed primarily to provide dedicated spaces to spend time with compatriots and to celebrate shared cultural and ethnic identities, but they served more practical purposes as well. Through these organizations, established Mexican community elders raised money to provide a starter fund called limosnas for new arrivals. Two mutual aid societies dominated the Milwaukee Mexican scene in the late 1920s and 1930s. La Sociedad Mutualista Hispano-Azteca, founded in 1929, began as a drama club that performed Spanish language plays and musicals for the community. The organization El Círculo Social de Amigos Emilio Carranza, founded later that year, sought to fill a similar artistic and social space. Mutualistas took on the role of social functionaries, funding and hosting dances and celebrations for the city's Mexican community. These societies were also responsible for establishing the city's first Spanish language newspapers, Sancho Panza and El Boletín Informativo. Printed on yellow paper the size of a handbill, the newspapers included news stories, poetry, and patriotic exhortations for the community. Regular editorials called upon members of the Mexican colony to raise the level of Mexico to that of other nations by working towards citizenship and applying to the Mexican consulate for help when it was needed. Now, as time went on, as more and more Latinos came to Wisconsin to make the state their home, other communities used the Mutualista framework to organize. Puerto Rican migrants who began to come to Milwaukee in the years following the Second World War, often in search of those same economic opportunities that Los Primeros had first pursued in the 1920s, often found similar restrictive opportunities. Puerto Ricans found comparable jobs that Mexicans had held in tanneries, foundries, and factories. And like Mexican immigrants, they encountered language barriers, poor housing conditions, and similar problems with police and social service organizations. However, with the growing community also came the start of social organizations, like the Congreso Puertorriqueño de Ayuda Mutua, a Puerto Rican mutual aid society. Along with holding dances that drew the Puerto Rican and Mexican community together, El Congreso also advocated for expanded educational opportunities for Spanish-speaking children in Milwaukee's public and parochial schools. These early forms of mutual aid were precursors to the vibrant and activist organizations that would spring up in the 1960s. First among them were efforts by migrant farm workers. Texas Mexicans or Tejanos had traveled to Wisconsin as migrant laborers for decades. Up to 15,000 Tejanos made their way to Wisconsin every summer by the 1950s, helping the state lead the nation in the canning of peas, sweet corn, and beets. Employers and receiving communities, however, were not prepared for the sudden increase in Tejano families. Up until the 1960s, most migrant children did not attend Wisconsin schools during the harvest season. Out of economic necessity, many of them worked in the fields with their parents. For those children that did find a way into a classroom, they could not expect